headlines, let's take a look at Ethereum. Where's the Ethereum prices? Oh, they're at 390. Well, we've been here before and we'll probably be here again, but this is right in and around about this zone, which is quite crucial for us. And if we move beyond it really distinctly in either direction, it could signal kind of where the trend is headed over the next wee while. As you can see, we've come up towards these highs and we've got various areas scored off on the BitMEX chart here. Obviously, I've got it on the weekly. Let's just go down to the 24-hour so we can see a little bit clearer where we are right now. Now, excuse me, I know there's a few different lines on here. I'll just actually get rid of this one. You know, we don't need that there. We have a key area of above us. If we can get up above that 415 area, things could be fairly bullish. But if we don't and we drop down below the 361 area, things are quite bearish. And we've been kind of going between these 236s that we've had pointed out on the charts for quite a while. They've been pointed out for quite a while. We know these targets. We've had them in mind. That's why you should subscribe, because, you know, trading made easy with Rocky Outcrop for sure really is trading made easy. So let's just take a look then and see where our targets can possibly be. First off, we have a 236 in there at 395. We've also got a 236 drawn in here at 361, and we have a pitchfork in the background. More mess on this chart. Of course, I explained everything really thoroughly, oopsie doopsie, in the previous episodes. I would really recommend you check out yesterday's Ethereum episode, for instance. Really fantastic stuff, hitting home runs every day of the week here. So the big zone of resistance up above our heads coming at around about this descending triangle, which obviously broke towards the downside, and we've had our measured move off the back of it. We've been supported by the previous descending triangle, which we broke towards the top side. And so far with this movement, and indeed, or this horizontal line is coming in at 381, which you had drawn on the charts for obviously a wee while now, but we're also kind of going down between these areas. And you can see here 370 got pretty close to that 236. If we break down below that, I'd say things are quite negative. And zooming out a bit, you could have three targets such as 309, 267, and 215 bucks or so towards the downside for that golden pocket retrace. That could all happen. There's also this pitchfork, and as we can see right now, the prices are actually challenging up above the median line of it. Having moved down below it, that was obviously a key area of resistance for us. It's hard for you to see perhaps the median line on this thing. Maybe I could make it so the background is clearer of the pitchfork. Put this line. Whoops. This line is pure white. No, that's not going to help, is it? Let's have this as yellow. Anyway, moving on. We've gone beyond this median line, and we're up above it currently. If we slink back down and close below it at 388, and then do the 236, then the two targets towards the downside have got to be in at about the 340 price point, and then thereafter in around 287. Okay, where you can see things tying in with various targets for us overall, such as movements past the 382 and then down to the 50%. And then, of course, if we drew in this and extended it out, that would actually take you down to, I drew in a parallel channel here and extended out the pitchfork, that would take you nicely down towards our golden pocket. If we were to go all the way down there towards that 215 area, that would obviously be quite a ridiculously big profit-taking target for people having had a 50% near enough pullback in the market. Actually, yeah, a solid 50% from the highs, which is where, of course, Dow Jones, the eccentric gay man lover from the 1920s, you might have heard of him, very famous, one of the most, he was famous for being incredibly camp. He said things often go down 50%, so check that out. And the median line here is a big deal. And if we move up above the 236 here at 394, that could be quite a big deal for us as well. So let's just see if we're able to do that and close out above it. Now, things at the minute are looking a little bit Adam and Evie, or perhaps, you know, whatever you want to call it here. But there's certainly a feeling at the minute of a pattern here of some sort on this section. Now, the most bullish thing I could really say about the price action, if I'm perfectly honest with you, would be that there's the potential for this to be a sort of descending, broadening wedge. You know, there's a potential for this to be a descending, broadening wedge. Now, that there is a bullish pattern, a bullish continuation pattern, but I would also hesitate to say that that's officially what it is, because it's quite channel-esque, really, in what we've got on the go. Putting in anything over less than a higher high of our previous high at 406 is very much going to confirm that for us. And any movements then down below 372, for instance, could be breaking outside of that parallel channel. So look out for that. And that's the most important things at the minute in terms of the price action. Here's that parallel channel for you again in white over here on the other chart. Which one is this? This is BitMEX again, yeah. So this is the sort of the straddling of the current price action. Bring the oscillators up, And you can see that while we've had a high here and a low here, then a lower high, then a lower low, that actually correlates with the price action up above, which means that we've got no bullish divergence on the go. In fact, if you look between this high and then this high, in fact, sorry, I just said that slightly wrong. That's very much bearishly divergent. And we've come down here, but all we've done so far is managed to come down higher than our previous lows. So if we break below that area and the 370s, then you can understand then that would be quite bearish, with this being continuation towards the downside. And there is and we'll look out for other things along the way, such as on the 4-hour time frame. You can see quite clearly then that with this high coming in higher on the RSI, the Stochastics, the DMI and the MACD during this period of downward price action, with a high with a lower high compared to the previous one, that's very much hidden bearish divergence. I would recommend you go and watch the Bitcoin video from today. It's very, very good. It's got a lot of solid, good information in there for you. Absolutely go ahead and watch that. No problemo. And then movements towards the downside, if we don't get supported in at these $361 area, where we actually have on this time frame a 382 at 361, just here on this particular chart, depending on how you draw these things in. Now, I can't be bothered going through the details explaining it. I've drawn these things in, explained it all in the past. All this stuff, all of it happens on camera. So if you're to look back in the past, you see all of it laid out, and we've really hit a bunch of home runs. You really just subscribe, okay? Because then you'll be keeping up to date with it, and I'll not have to constantly reiterate the stuff from the past. So really do hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button, and you'll always be up to date and understanding what we've got on the go. But there's that 361 where that one is, and of course over here 361 is where the 236 is. It really depends on where you draw in your bottom side, where you're taking that from in terms of their measurement from it. 361 being very, very, very crucial then in terms of support or resistance for us if we see this continue to play out towards the downside, which it absolutely could under the auspices of a bull trend, absolutely could, and then without it really changing the bull trend from being anything special, from being a bull trend, or even a retracement down to $301, if you look at the Fibonacci, that's a 236 at 395 that we've gone below already, and we've been resisted by currently in today's price action, with the highs being at 393.95, then you'd be looking down there towards that zone, and that would still be very overall bullish, with a massive pullback in the prices since their highs, offering up great opportunities for anybody that longed it with a good solid 30% pullback. And these things do happen during bull trends, so look out for that, because that could be fairly crucial. Jumping over to the Bitcoin pricing, the Bitcoin pairing, we're discussing how there's the possibility for head and shoulders over here, and the prices straddling between these two purple lines, and that's actually still offering up. This is the 4-hour time frame. We talked about this on the 24-hour time frame. Go back over the 24-hour time frame and just showing you, this is the result of yesterday's price action. We saw this is all perfectly laid out. So again, why you should hit that subscribe button if you were trading this one. And then we've come back up again, having been supported at this area, but we've not put in a higher high. We put in a lower high so far. We need to see the prices move above 0.035 in order to be kind of positive about this. Otherwise, you still just basically got the potential for head and shoulders, which could see the prices drop down towards that 0.027. And you would really be wondering how the prices are going to operate overall, and whether or not this is seeing the Bitcoin prices also going down at the same time, and Ethereum prices dropping down even harder than the Bitcoin ones do in terms of relative retracement, and that could happen in the way that the Ethereum prices led us towards the top side. Maybe we'll see us being led towards the downside by the Ethereum ones in terms of which one's leading which in the market right now. I'm going to leave it at that, okay? Overall, there's other things I could talk about. I could revisit the rising wedge that we had on the show that we've broken out of so far, and we haven't had the measured move off the back of it. I could, revisit that real quick and say, for instance, if this is the start of that, initiating that breakout, then your target towards the downside could be 325, for instance. But also, if you're to go for the Bulkowski style one, you could be looking at that really key important zone again at around about that 360s area. Okay, so that's very, very, very crucial. And there's no need to be, super greedy with your trading, because if we just look at, even if you were just trading off the back of yesterday's technical analysis, then you're looking at, I've already had a 10% move towards the downside. People can fill up their accounts very, very quickly, trading off the back of 10% moves. Always remember to take profit and all that sort of good stuff. Join the Discord, join the Discord, hit the subscribe button, all that stuff. I'm sure you get value from these episodes, and really lots of good value. I'm really sure you do. So, and that you actually helps you with your trading and it helps you grow your account. I'm really, really 100% sure that you get that value. So, because I'm putting my heart and soul into delivering this to you. And I'm actually not even really giving you that sort of crazy clickbait style analysis where I lay out all exactly, you know, how you should trade this, because I'm agnostic about how you trade things. Of course, you could either be long in it or shorting it from these zones, and I'm pointing out the key areas for you for where you'd be looking at. And of course, when you look at these things, you have to bear in mind that the sort of the first area is kind of like a checkpoint towards the next area. So if we do break down past 380s and the prices, then we could be looking at the 360s, of course, and that's a solid move down the way. Likewise, if we move up above $406, 408, we could be looking towards 415 and then back up towards the higher targets of 440, and that thereafter that, or indeed 420 blaze it zone would be your first sort of profit taking area thereafter. There's this pitchfork in the background that has targets that can't correlate perfectly with what we were saying just now as well, like I've already talked about as well. So all of that's all done, so you can really take some value. And if you want to join the Discord, you'll also find a lot more good value in there. So recently I was talking about a guy called SC Patch in there. I think his real name is Simon. Shout out to him. Having a really good discussion yesterday about some deep stuff that you often forget. You forget a lot of things when you're trading. It's easy. That's why people talk about hidden bearish divergence and stuff like that, because it's easy to overlook it and forget it, you know, as you're looking at a trend one way or another. Let's just quickly do that then in the 4-hour time frame and remind people that there was this big chunk of hidden bearish divergence on the go, you know, which is a fairly, you know, continuation divergence, fairly significant thing. There is a bit of the of bullish divergence that you can look to between these lows. Haven't seen this come down as far as this over here on the RSI on this low, and then is actually higher on the RSI. So you've got a bit of a mixture, a mixed bag at the minute, and that's why it's easy to look towards these horizontal levels and indeed this upward sloping diagonal trend line. And we can, as you can see, even during this episode, we've come up here as high as this sort of 394 area and down towards this 389 area, right at the median line of that thing. So there's lots of deep stuff that's easy to overlook, such as how the really obvious thing about boats. Now, I've been talking about this in the Bitcoin one. I'll talk about it in the next 2 episodes too. You know, we all know that Archimedes invented boats, but people forget it so often that before Archimedes, there was no such thing as a boat, and everybody had to just travel by land. And then we invented boats with him in the same way that the Wright brothers invented planes. But the Wright brothers always get that credit, and Archimedes never does. Isn't it funny? Even though we all know about the Eureka moment. Now, and moreover, of course, we know about how he got into the bath, said Eureka, then afterwards we named boats after Archimedes and called them arks, you know, short for Archimedes. That's why Noah in the Bible had an ark named after Archimedes, as the whole thing ties together. So plenty of really, really deep, important information which can really help you, and easy stuff to overlook. You know, you might be blindsided by it, and then afterwards somebody says to you, how come you didn't know that Archimedes, you know, if you're at a quiz, how come you didn't know that boats were invented by Archimedes? We all know the Archimedes story about how he got into the bath, he shouted Eureka, Noah heard him, made an ark, yada, yada. We all know that story from our primary school and whatever, our childhood. But it's easy to forget, easy to overlook it. The Discord helps keep you on track with that one. So cool, nice one. I'll catch you in the next episode. I'm going to move on to do Chainlink and Tezos just now. And I've been Rocky Outcrop, youtube.com/Rocky Outcrop. Share it with your friends. I'm actually looking to try and see if we can hit a target of 42,652 subscribers by September. We're currently at 1,499, so it wouldn't take much to get us there. You could be a part of that story. And if you want as well, I've got a target in terms of likes for this video of 455 million. Now, of course, I know that's a fairly big target to hit, but, you know, generally speaking, these videos get about 10 to 15 likes on them. So, you know, it wouldn't take that much to just double or triple it up to get up to those sort of numbers. So looking at it, get in here on the ground floor, hitting that like button, would really appreciate it. Catch you in the next episode. I've been Rocky Outcrop, youtube.com/Rocky Outcrop. Share it with your friends. Remember, a friend of yours is a friend of mine, and I'm eager to meet them. Thanks so much. See you next time.